Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. That's right, today's game features Sephiroth fighting space aliens and spaceships, so that happened. Max wins the die roll though, and starts us off. He draws and plays a Windswept Heath, cracking it to find a land. Metya draws and plays a tapped Temple of Triumph. Arj's got a swamp and ships it to me. I display a Vault of Whispers. Max continues with the fetch lands, playing a Misty Rainforest, and he also casts a Soul Ring. He then sacrifices the Rainforest, searching while passing. Matt draws and plays a tapped Prairie Stream. Arj's got a swamp, and he casts Ransack the Lab. He ships it to me after that. My turn is pretty uneventful, as I play a swamp and pass. Max plays an untapped Godless Shrine, and then pays enough for Archelios and passes. Matt draws, playing a Glacial Fortress, which allows him to then cast Emery. As the Merfolk comes in, he mills 4 and passes to Arja. Arja's got a swamp and casts Xu-Ifit, passing. My turn has me playing a swamp as well, and I then cast Braids, Arisen Nightmare. Moving to my end step, I sacrifice a swamp to her trigger, and all of my opponents decide not to sacrifice a land, taking 2, and I draw 3, and pass while discarding down to 7. Max continues with Shock Lands, and gets to play a Steam Vents untapped because of Archelios' ability, and then casts Ziatora. He then hits Metya for 2 with Archelios, and passes. Metya draws and plays Inspirit, and then taps Emery to station it. He then casts an Astral Cornucopia, putting 0 into it, and goes to combat. Inspirit triggers, and this lets Metya put 2 charge counters onto the Cornucopia, and he passes after that. Arja's main phase has him playing a swamp, and he casts Bone Shards, targeting Ziatora, and discards Desolation Twin to its additional cost. Arja then activates Xu-Ifit, bringing back the Desolation Twin back as a skeleton with no abilities. He then casts Apprentice Necromancer, and passes. I just draw, play a swamp, and pass. Max plays an Assimilation Aegis, exiling the Desolation Twin as it comes in. He then hits Arja for 2 with Archelios, and he follows up in his second main phase by casting Miri. Metya draws and activates Emery, which allows him to cast the long-range sensor from his graveyard. Going to combat, Metya puts 2 charge counters onto the sensor with Inspirit's ability, and he then moves to a second main phase. He then activates the long-range sensor, removing the 2 counters, and discovers 4, which has him revealing until he hits Kilo. After that, Matt passes. Arja's got a swamp and casts Tormod. He then uses Xu-Ifit on the Plaguecrafter, and makes a 2/2 zombie token with Tormod since something leaves his graveyard. He moves to his end step, and before letting the turn pass, I cast Go for the Throat and take out Archelios. I just draw, play a swamp, and cast Burnished Heart. Max plays a mountain for turn, and then casts Infinite Guideline Station. As it comes in, he makes 2 tapped robot tokens. He then puts Jengatha into his hand, and once that's done, stations Infinite with Miri, and passes. Metya draws and plays a Storm-Carved Coast, and then casts Patrolling Peacemaker. Going to combat, Metya once more puts 2 charge counters onto the long-range sensor, thanks to his commander. He also sends Kilo at Max. With Kilo getting tapped, Metya gets to proliferate, and Max then takes the hit. In his post-combat main phase, Metya then casts Trinket Mage, and he goes to find a lost Jitte to put to hand. Metya then activates the long-range sensor, and he gets Teferi's Protection, which he decides to put to hand. He passes after that. Arja's main phase has a Stitcher's Supplier coming in, and he mills 3. One of which is a Horror of the Broken Lands. Arja then activates Xu-Ifit to skeletonize the Horror, and Tormod makes another zombie token. Arja then sends Tormod at max, and the Plaguecrafter and the zombie token from last turn at Mathieu. Mathieu then trades the Trinket Mage for the Plaguecrafter. In his second main phase, Arja then uses the Apprentice Necromancer, sacrificing it to bring back Plaguecrafter. This is Arja sacrificing the Stitcher's Supplier, milling 3 more, and we all sacrifice what we can. I just draw, play a Swamp, and cast. I then play Innocent Blood to try and flip him, and as the creatures are sacrificed, I drain Max. I also get an emblem as he transforms, and I pass turn. Max has a Plains, and he then casts Nahiri's Resolve. He then stations Infinite with Miri again, and then exiles Infinite and the Aegis Assimilation to Nahiri's Resolve before passing. Mathieu draws, plays a Port Town, and then puts 2 more counters onto his Astral Cornucopia as he moves to combat with Inspirit's ability. Mathieu then activates Emery to cast the Patrolling Peacemaker again. He then plays Lost Jitte and passes. Arja's got a Swamp and goes to combat. He sends a Desolation Twin at me, Tormod at max, and the Horror and 2 zombies at Matt. Everyone then takes their hit, with Arja using Xu-Ifit in his second main phase to bring back the Plaguecrafter. He passes after that. I draw and cast a Reassembling Skeleton in my main phase, and then move to combat, sending Sephiroth at Arja. With the on-attack trigger, I sacrifice the skeleton, drawing a card, and draining Arja for 1. This has Mathieu proliferating thanks to the Peacemaker, and I then pass turn. Max gets back his Aegis and Infinite on his upkeep, and exiles the Peacemaker with the Aegis as it comes in. He then draws, and in his main phase plays Jengatha, then stations Infinite with Miri, before exiling it to Nahiri's Resolve again. After that, Max passes. Mathieu draws, and activates the Long Range Sensor, this time hitting Excalibur 2. He then uses Emery to bring back Kilo, and he uses Kilo to station Inspirit, which in turn gets him a Proliferate trigger. Mathieu then activates the Beacon again, this time hitting a Mox Opal, and he then goes to combat. He puts 2 more counters onto the Long Range Sensor, and moves through his phases to his second main phase. He once more activates it, hitting Strix Serenade, which he puts to hand. Mathieu then continues by casting Mystic Forge, and then a Restless Anchorage. He then activates the Forge to exile his top card and loses 1. Matt then casts an Insight Engine, and equips Inspirit with the Lost Jitte before passing. Arja's just got a Swamp, and casts Felon Inspirit to take it out. Going to combat, Arja sends everything at Matt, and with no blockers, Mathieu gets taken out. Arja then casts Marvin, and uses Xu-Ifit to bring back the Apprentice Necromancer. He passes, and during the end step, I activate the Reassembling Skeleton in my graveyard to put it back onto the battlefield tapped on my side. I draw, play a Black Market, and then swing Sephiroth at Arja. I sacrifice the Reassembling Skeleton again, drain Arja for 1, and he then takes 5 in the air, and I add a counter to the Black Market. After that, I pass. Max gets back his exiled cards, making more robots, and draws. He then stations Infinite fully, and swings it at me. This has Max drawing 5, while I take 7. After combat, he casts General Ferris Rorik, and then a Siege Rhino. The Siege Rhino drains us for 3, and he gains 3, and Max then moves to his end step, exiling the Rhino, and Assimilation Aegis to Nahiri's Resolve before passing. Arja's turn has him drawing and casting Into the Pit. He then moves to combat and swings the Desolation Twin at me, and the Horror of the Broken Lands at Max. Max blocks with a Golem token he made with General Ferris to trade, while I take the 10. After combat, Arja then uses Marvin and Xu-Ifit to bring back the Stitcher's Supplier, and the Horror as skeletons with no abilities. I draw and get to make 3 black mana thanks to Black Market, and I then use it to cast Case of the Stash Skeleton. I then play Doomblade and target Marvin, taking him out and draining Arja for 1, and adding a counter to the Black Market. I then send Sephiroth at Max, sacrificing the Skeleton token, and drain Max for 1. Before damage though, he responds with the Swords to Plowshares on Sephiroth, exiling my commander. After combat, I move to my end step and solve the case and pass. Max gets back his Siege Rhino and Aegis, exiling the Desolation Twin with the Aegis as it comes in. He then draws for turn and plays a tapped Hollowed Fountain. He follows that up by casting Trigon Predator. Going to combat, Max sends the Trigon Predator and Infinite Arja, and his 8 robot tokens at me. I can't block enough and get taken out, and Arja can't block either, taking the hit. Max then draws 9 and destroys Into the Pit with the Trigon Predator trigger. His second main phase then has him casting Ignoble Hierarch and Wily Duke. Max then uses Miri and Wily Duke to station Infinite, and moves to his end step, exiling the Siege Rhino to Nahiri's Resolve, and passes. Arja draws, and with nothing in hand and nothing in graveyard, casts a Leveler, exiling his library as it comes in, and accepts his fate by scooping it up. Game review time. So this was a fun one, and not just because I get to use that sound clip from One Winged Angel every time I play Sephiroth. Straight off the bat, I think Nahiri's Resolve was probably the strongest card this game. Not only did it pump Max's creatures and give them haste, he was able to get constant ETB effects from Infinite Station, and also move around his Assimilation Aegis to exile the most powerful card that he needed to deal with. It was really cool to see. Otherwise, this was just a fun game. It was the last one of the night, and we just played whatever we wanted. Mathieu played Inspirit because he felt he didn't get to do much with it. Arja was really into Xu-Ifit, so he played that. I just love Sephiroth. And Max obviously wanted to take the station out for a spin again. All in all, great game, lots of fun, would recommend. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.